All right, good afternoon. It is, I think it's Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021. And today we were looking at a range day. A lot of good movement in here. I think most of these trades are aggressive because like they're going into mid lines or something like that. Maybe I'll change some of them to blue or red arrows, but definitely some are slightly aggressive. We'll check them out. Um, And tomorrow, if there's low volume, I probably won't make a video. But yesterday and today had a lot of volume, so no problems making videos here. All right, so we trended down in the overnight, and then we had this trend up. Let me mark that as yellow so it's easy to see. We had this trend up, and we had a break right here, and not a convincing one, but we got a move to a new high after that. It looks like this channel might be skinnier, like maybe it starts like there or something, but if you follow the rule to draw off the first two swings right here, that looks like the channel. And so that being said, I took this second entry, but look, you got a doji here, doji here, doji here, doji. So this is congestive, and that's what you get if you look. This is congestion, and so I think that was an aggressive trade. Just something to think about. Let's see what else. Yeah, so we were just really congestive right before the open, and then the open happened, and this is probably like a triple test or a double test. It's just a first entry, but you can see it matches that high right there. It's right along, so that's like a double test with a nice bearish signal bar. So you might take that, and it looks like we got a second entry right here. I didn't mark that. I remember seeing that. I didn't mark that. I was looking at that, and it looks like a trap, but it's a bit away from the EMA, and you can see my trend channel. It's a bit away from that, and this was arguably a level of support. Probably turned out to just be the midline of the range. So you're going in the midline. It's a bit aggressive. When we come down here, we hit the measured move, then make another leg down, and unfortunately we don't get a good signal bar for on the second entry short right here, or else you might have considered taking that, but you're going in the measured move. That's why I wasn't looking. So we break out, and then we get this higher low, and I really like that setup. So I took that. Yes, it's at the midline, but with these extremely bullish bars. And this was my original level of support. And this is a very bullish bar. So with all those factors, I like that trade a lot here. Let me make it bigger, because I like it when Mac makes his bigger. So yeah, I really like this. These are really bullish bars. We had a close outside and a move to a new low. You could have even argued that this was the channel. So we got a close outside here and a move to a new low. So I really like that trade. It's just the first entry, but yeah. So these are all too far away from the EMA, unfortunately. By the way, you would have gotten a nice like 5 or 6 point runner on that. And then we go above the overnight highs, which I have in yellow, and you can see some congestion and kind of not a weak move up, but you can see we can't get much higher before it starts to turn down. You get a big leg down. And you can see we got a first entry and a failed second entry long right here, but it's also a second entry short. So I think this is congestive, so it's aggressive, but all those factors, and it looks like it's off of the trend line. I'd probably have my trend line a little steeper. Maybe not, because if you drag it from here, yeah, that's off the trend line. So it's aggressive because that's congestion. But you're expecting a leg down and all that rejection up here above the overnight highs. I like that. I like that trade. I didn't have the guts to take it in real time. We get a slight overshoot. Maybe that leads to the break. Maybe that's the reason we get a break. You get a move to a new low and you get this really bullish bar. It's right at the midline of the overnight highs and lows. So I think I was looking at it like maybe some people would take it, especially since we formed some support right here. But I'm not going to mark that. But you can see we formed a level of resistance right here that was tested right here. So then when we come back right here and form that super bearish bar, you might consider going short there. And I really wanted this to close more bearish right here, but it didn't. So you probably would have taken that on a second entry short. I think if you got a better signal bar, maybe it would have given you enough momentum to go short here. But here's the thing is, I did have this marked as a range, and you have to play the range rule, so this is not a breakout. And so you're playing a second entry short into the midline, and that's probably why it didn't work out right here. And you would have gotten stopped out by one tick. But you see here we got a first entry, failed second entry long. And again, that's not range rules, and this is congestion, and we shouldn't be taking failures in congestion. But you can see we make this high. You try and go higher once, twice, and a third time. I like that. And this is in the midline, so look, we bounce a little bit, trick all the longs. All those longs get trapped, and boom, it falls down. We make this new low, but we don't get a second entry set up right here, just the doji. But off this trend line, you get a first failed second entry. And at this point, that's at the measure move. So that's a bit aggressive, but this is starting to look like a channel to me. Oh, yeah. That's looking pretty darn good to me. So I like that. First failed second entry. I took that on practice on the simulator. And I like that more now that I see this trend channel. But then we just get to, and it looks like it's going to the overnight lows. That's what that was my feeling. It looks like it looked and felt like they're trapping all these longs at this measured move. So anyway, we formed some congestion though, unfortunately. So you don't get the move all the way down to the overnight lows. And I don't think you can go take anything here. But then we started to get some rejection, and you get a first entry, second entry, but the signal bar is no good. And that was unfortunate because I really wanted to go short there, but with these two dojis and this not being the high of the swing, I couldn't take that. And the failure doesn't come till right here, and that's too far from the EMA. And at this point, we're too far from the EMA. We break beneath the overnight lows. And here you get a first, second entry, and then we get a lower high right here, and this fails. So you might be thinking like, oh, let's take a short, a second entry short. But with the break of this channel and a move to a new low, and we barely broke out beneath overnight lows, I think you got to be really careful on that. Unless it's off a trend line, I don't think you can take that. And all this is just too far from the EMA. And then we come up here, and we form this level of resistance, come down to the EMA, come back up, takes one tick higher. But unfortunately, you know, I don't think you're thinking about going short here. But you could consider this a double bottom and this a first, second entry short. So maybe if I had a better signal bar, I would take that and mark that. I don't know. But you can see we form this level of resistance up here, and it looks like we're going to have a level of support here when we bounce once and then twice, and it looks like it was kind of an important level right here. But that's really the only other bounce we get from that. I don't see how you could trade any of these. It just looks like we're ranging, and the signal bars aren't really good to be going long or short. But you see, we come back, so we get this price level, test it once, test it twice on a second entry short with a very nice bearish bar with that much space back to the EMA. I like that. I like that very much. And then we get a first entry, failed second entry. I marked this as aggressive because it looks like you're going into a midline of this range, but I really like that trade. After that double test up here, and it looks like this is off the trend line, I like that trade. At least to go back to this level of support, but we blow right through that and test the overnight lows again. Overshoot leads to a break, new low. Get a first entry, second entry, not a good signal bar, off the midline of the overnight highs and lows. But then we start forming this downtrend, and you get a first, second entry long failure, but that's so congested you wouldn't have known by then. But once it comes back to this trend line, this potential trend line, and you get a first, second entry short with a very bearish bar, I like that. I don't think you can go long here, even though it's off the overnight lows. And all this looks really congestive to me. But we do hit a new low right here. After the break, we actually get a new low right here, but then another new low. And I think a lot of people definitely went long here, but I just don't like that it didn't close beneath the EMA right here, or else I'd probably mark it as an aggressive trade. But I don't think I wouldn't take this. We get what would that be, like a first, second, really a third, a fourth test of that price level. It's a third entry short, that's why I marked it as green. But look at how much room back to the EMA you have. It's just such a bearish bar. I like that. I like that very much. But if you don't like that, you get a first, second entry long. And here's these trades sometimes after the break of this channel, these trades sometimes don't work out. So I was looking at it, trying to think about why it does work out. And what I came up with is we really only have one doji in here. So this is pretty good price rejection. This is probably the closest bar other than that one to a doji, this one right here. But it just feels like a lot of rejection. It tried to go higher, a lot of rejection. So I do like this for just a scalp, and that's what it works out to. I mean, I'd honestly probably be thinking that we're going to go higher, but I can see why someone wouldn't like that, because look, when you bounce up here again, you'll probably be thinking that we're going to go test these lows, you know, and I understand that. But I don't know, I like this if you're thinking correctly. I probably, in real time, I'd probably not take it, because I'd probably, again, be expecting to go to these lows. I don't see anything I like in here. Very congestive. This looks like a first, second entry short, and it would have worked. But I don't know. I might be a little nervous to go short here. This is very congestive after the fact. Yeah, this is tough. Oh, whoops. So we bounce again and we start to go higher, and I don't see anything in here. First entry, second entry, no good signal bar. This is just congestion. We make a new high. after making that new high, you might think first entry failed, second entry long with such a bearish bar. Thinking I would ride it back to this level of support, doesn't quite make it. And that now looks like a level of support. You get a first entry failed, second entry short. This is aggressive though because it's in congestion, so you're not supposed to take failures in congestion. But then when we get this high or low and it confirms this trend line, I kind of like that. And that's all I saw in my analysis. Well, as far as the trades go, but you can see we get a bounce here. We come up here, we make this new high, and you get a first entry, second entry, but there's no signal bar. You get a higher low right here. So you might consider that, and it would have gotten you a scalp, but I just don't like that that's into the overnight highs, personally. So that's what I saw for today. I've been making some longer videos because there's just been so much price action. But let's take a look at these trades. And I've been trying to avoid trading at night when I open up my computer just to set up my chart, but this trade set up so well. You get a first entry, second entry short right here. Signal bar's no good, but then we get this signal bar, and that's very nice. And first entry failed, second entry right here, but I didn't like that just because there was no context. And you can see this. I mean, this looks like one leg down, so other people probably looked at this as a first failed, second entry long right here, combined with a second entry short. So I really like that trade. And then over here, yeah, this is I don't want to take these. This looks like congestion, and it turns out to be congestion, and it's 5-point signal bar. Yes, it's a second entry long, but on my chart, how I drew the trend line, we have a break and a move to a new high. And this clearly looks like overlap. But it works out. And yeah, this is an aggressive trade, but I like this. I think this is a very good aggressive trade. It's just a higher low back into congestion and a really great signal bar. And I think I played that right. And I wish I rode it higher. I think I took like 3 points. Could have gotten like 4 points on a runner, because I don't think I would sit through all this. But yeah, so that's what I saw for today. Like I said, tomorrow, if it's low volume, I won't even make a video. But if there's plenty of volume like today, I will. So hope to see you tomorrow. Have a great holiday. See you next time.